my name is Sylvia Hamilton. I am currently working for SIIT, which is Saskatchewan Institute of Technologies, and I am the program officer for the Joint Training Committee, and I am a Journeyperson electronics assembler. So in my current role, what I do here at SIIT is I look after all of our apprentices. So we have 200 to 225 odd apprentices in our system, and my job is to make sure that they get into training, that they get their hours in, and that their journey from level 1 to level 4, or however many levels it is, depending on the trade, that they get through that and out the other end as a journey person. SIIT was founded in 1978 for Indigenous folks. We have 94 to 95% Indigenous students, and the rest are non. What I think is the services that we have here for our students, it is really great. So we have academic coaches, we have registered psychologists, advisory services, we have elders, we have knowledge keepers, we have cultural coordinators, so we incorporate a lot of that into our program. So whatever type of service you need, we have math tutors, whatever type of service a student needs here, it's available through SIIT. So it makes their learning experience more enjoyable, and they can get through it no matter what's happening, because there's always stuff happening outside of school, right, in your life. So to me, that's what stands out with SIIT. When I first started in electronics, I was just amazed at all the things that you could do. It was so fascinating to me. So the day in the life of an electronics assembler is very diverse. So there's so many things that you could be doing, right from assembling components to soldering components to testing and building harnesses. Electronics has become very, very small and compact. So they want everything to be done with less space, but yet do more kind of thing. So the components are really small. The CCAs, which is the circuit card assemblies, have many layers to them now, so that makes everything quite intricate, and the components are a lot more sensitive, so you have to watch out for ESD, which is electrostatic discharge. So you're all suited up. You've got a blue little smock on, you can have a wrist strap, heel strap, all so that you don't damage any components. Because you know when you walk across a carpet and you get that little spark when you touch a doorknob? Well, that little spark can really damage an electronic component. You can do testing, you can do troubleshooting, you can repair CCAs, as well as damage lands and traces in a CCA. You can repair the actual laminate material with the epoxy method. So there's just such a number of things that you can do, and all of them are so interesting. And because things are so small these days too, you can actually do stuff under a microscope. So for example, little resistors and capacitors, when surface mount first started, they were size 1206. Now, so it went from 1206 to 805, 603, 04, 02, 0201, and then now there's 0100, which makes it the size of a grain of pepper, a coarse grain of pepper. So it's pretty tough to solder that with your naked eye. So you're doing a lot of work under the microscope, which is pretty unique in the day in the life of an assembler. Well, what led me to a career as an electronics assembler? So I pretty much started electronics assembly right out of high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I did know that when I graduated that I wanted to one day complete some sort of extra education. That's the only goal I had for myself. I actually started out as a telephone operator, and I found that really wasn't for me. You're just a voice at the end of the line, and I didn't really like that. So anyway, I applied for my first electronics assembler position, and then it had me hooked from there. It would just, like I said, so amazing to me and so much fun. It was something that I had a real passion for and I really enjoyed doing. So I was in the industry probably about 10 years, and then I found out that electronics assembler was then a trade. So I had way more than 5,400 hours and well over 3 years of experience behind me. So I decided at that point in time that I would pursue becoming an electronics assembler, but I wouldn't go the apprenticeship route. Instead, I challenged. So I thought with my experience and expertise, I could challenge and be successful. So that's what I had done. It was more difficult when you challenge, for sure, because you don't know what you're supposed to study. You're given the books, and then I found books from all over the place. I didn't buy any myself. I begged, borrowed, and and got all the textbooks required and the standards. And then I just read. I had a family of 3 young children. I worked full time, so I was trying to find time to study as well. So I would study in the evening and then on the weekends. Of course, my experience, I volunteered for absolutely everything when it came to electronics assembly. When they asked for somebody for something, whether it was a job big or small or something that I wasn't sure if, I volunteered, and I got to know that industry inside out. So like I say, I had a lot of knowledge base coming with me. So I went through and did the written exam, and I passed the written, and then came the practical. So I was one of the first to challenge electronics assembler, because it was a very new trade. So I had to do the practical at work on my own time after hours, and then somebody from the Curriculum and Exam Development Board came in and vigilated that just to make sure it was, myself that was doing the work. And so I was so careful. I thought, this is going to be a breeze. I know so much about electronics, and I carefully measured. I read the schematic. I measured everything out, and I built my circuit card, and I built my wire harness, and then I drilled my holes in my chassis, and then I went to install my chassis, and oh my God, it didn't fit. And I thought, how could I have measured so wrong? Because I went back and I measured again and again, and here it ended up. The drawing was wrong. So thank goodness I ended up passing with flying colors, and that's how I became a Journeyperson electronics assembler. So there is 2 levels. So and most places, like a company that indentures an apprentice wants you to work for about a year. So you would work for about a year, get 1,800 hours under your belt, because that's what you need, is 1,800 hours each year to move on in apprenticeship. So you would work for 1,800 hours, work for 1 year, and then you would then apply for level 1. And then you would take your level 1 training through the training provider here in Saskatoon. There's only one. It's not actually SIIT, it's a different one, or Sask Poly. And then, so you complete that level 1, and then you would go back. So apprenticeship, again, is earn while you learn. So 85% of your time is spent on the tools of the trade, and then 15% of your time is spent in school. So then you would go back and complete that another 1,800 hours to get your 3,600 hours, and then you'd do your level 2. And then once you completed your level 2, then you would, while you're doing your level training, you actually do the practical right through the whole 2 years. And then you would just write your JP exam at the end, your Journeyperson exam at the end. You could just do so much. You could do whatever you wanted. You could be in the, the circuit card area where you're actually building the circuit cards. You could, be involved with the stenciling of the solder paste onto the circuit card. And then you could work with the pick and place machine, and then they would pop all the components on there, and then it would go through the reflow oven. Or if you didn't want that part, then you could go into the next part. You could be second assembly. So you install all the components that cannot be installed in the reflow oven that would melt through there. And then you could be testing the CCA, and then you could be troubleshooting the CCA if there is an issue, because there could be a faulty component. Then you could go on to rework and repair. And then that is a world all on its own. That's where you can, I talked about working under the microscope, using a multitude of equipment, and repairing something that looks like it's not repairable, and then you fix it all up, and then it goes through tests, and wow, it worked. I love working with the apprentices. So the apprenticeship journey can be quite cumbersome and difficult to maneuver at times. And I love when they call and they say, Sylvia, I need this or I need that. My employer won't give me my hours. I'm having trouble in the new MyATC system. What can you do, and how can you help? That's what I love, is being able to help that apprentice so that they can concentrate on what they need to concentrate on, and I can help them make their journey nice and smooth through that system. Becoming a Journeyperson is a great career path or choice. It is just like attending university, except it's post-secondary education. There are so many things that you can do depending on what trade you choose. Also, it can open up, you can choose to stay on the tools of the trade if you like once you become a Journeyperson, but it can also open up many, many career paths for you that might not have happened had you not become a Journeyperson in any trade. Journeyperson Electronics Assembler has a lot of tasks that can really keep you engaged and loving your job throughout the whole time. And as mentioned, it does open up many doors, as it did for me, and that's how I got my current position. General career advice: take your time when you're choosing a career. Make sure that you seek out something that you're really passionate about. Don't be afraid to find the courage and the strength to try new things. The sky's the limit. You can be anything that you want to be. Reach for the stars. You are worth it.